Hey YouTube, today I'm doing a video on the state board exam for cosmetology. This will be centered around the Georgia exam, but I'm sure everyone will be able to use some of the tips I give. I'll do another video on the practical exam, which will be a lot more in depth. So just to give a background, I went to Paul Mitchell's School, Atlanta, located off of West Marietta, and I graduated in January of 2015. I had anticipated taking my cosmetology state board exam immediately after graduation, which I would recommend, but we had a snowstorm, the school closed for the weather, a lot of other things happened in life. I had a baby, so I'm just getting around to posting this video and taking my exams. Alright, so I guess I should start this off with, what did I score on my written exam? One moment. All right. That's what I earned. I earned a 91 on my exam, so I hope I'm able to tell you some secrets and some tips. All right, so like I mentioned, I went to Paul Mitchell School, Atlanta, and the books we were given was the Milady textbook, if you can see. And again, I went to school in 2014, so this is what I was given then. I don't know what they're giving out now, should be the same. And then you get an exam Milady book that has, it has like, you know, chapters, you study them. It's multiple choice, the answers are in the back. For those who have taken an apprenticeship, you might want to try and look up, you know, the Milady book. Look on eBay. I'm thinking about selling mine. I have some writing and stuff in mine, but hey, it has the information and that's what you need. Now, you do not have to wear all black. That was one thing I was wondering, like, do I have to wear all black like I did in school, or like you probably have to do for the practical exam? You don't. I wore jeans. I did wear a black shirt just in case. Yeah, the written portion has 110 questions. I was told by one of my teachers that 10 of those questions do not count against you. And I think that's why it's 110 questions and not 100 questions. So you'll have 90 minutes to complete it. In Georgia, you have 90 minutes to take the cosmetology state board exam. The questions that they have, they're not trick questions, but there are questions that you gotta, the way it's worded, you just gotta kind of think about what you learned in school. I'll give you an example. So I'm giving an example. This is not word for word on the state board exam. You know, you have to sign that you will not, you know, tell answers or questions and stuff about it. And I'm not. These are examples. Okay. So let's just say there was a question about the hair bulb or hair cuticle, all that, the hair, the properties of the scalp and hair. So the question could be, name a tube-like depression or pocket in the scalp that contains, that the hair grows from. Name a tube-like depression that the hair in the scalp grows from. Now you might automatically know by me saying tube-like depression, oh, that's the hair follicle, right? Yeah, follicle. And that was, I think, my first guess. But when it said grows from, to me, hair doesn't grow from a hair follicle. It's contained, yeah, it contains the hair. That's what my mind was thinking. Now, if it's something it grows from, is like the root, right? The root or the bulb, and those could have been my choices. So I was like, man, well, which one is it, you know? And I had to come back to that question. I kept thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, which one is it? So you just kind of got to look for those keywords, tube-like depression. So I just said, I'm going with hair follicle. You know, I'd rather go with the main keyword than from a preposition or whatever the thing is. Okay, so that's just an example of how the questions are written. I can't really tell you like what to study, like if there's a certain section in the book to study, you know, to do better, because they, you know, ask questions from all over the book, right? This is the Like, okay, this is a gland, for instance. I was like, I hope they don't have, even though it's all multiple choice, I was like, I hope they don't have like a diagram, a diagram, and then ask you, okay, what point to this and what is this, A, B, C, or D. They don't have questions like that. It's all multiple choice and it's all just worded. You just have to answer the question, right? It does cover a lot of sanitation and safety. Right? So it had questions that like you may not know exactly what the word is, like what that disease is, you may not remember, but if you have studied and paid attention during your schooling or your apprenticeship, you put 2 and 2 together, you know, like I want to say it's like common sense, but it could say, you know, staphylococci, you know, bacteria, is it does this cause HIV or stuff? You know, bacteria doesn't cause HIV. So while I didn't know what that particular strain, that particular bacteria was, I know that bacteria don't cause HIV. It's a virus, right? So that's the type of stuff you have to just kind of read the question, kind of put together what you've learned in the past, and just use your common sense and what you've learned to get through those type of questions. Oh, I do want to give a tip. I downloaded an app called Quizlet, Quizlet. Quizlet is an app I got on my iPad. It allows you to enter terms, like from your cosmetology book, enter terms and definitions, and then you can do the matching the definitions with the terms. You can do flashcards, fill in the blank. You can test yourself. You're able to search other states or other people's exams, cosmetology, barbering, or whatever, and use the terms that they entered. Now, I didn't feel comfortable doing that because, I don't want to depend on somebody else's stuff, and they may not have the right information, but it's good for you just to learn your own terms. I have entered about 300 terms myself. If you would like for my Quizlet to be downloaded on the app, I will be happy to do it. Just leave a comment below and I'll download my terms to Quizlet for the state board exam. It really helped me learn the definitions and what I needed to for the exam. I did not take a practice test like PSI gives practice tests on their website. You have to pay for them. I did take practice exams while I was in school. I can't say that those prepared me for taking the test. Maybe if I had taken the test right after school, I could say that, but it doesn't really, because you don't know what's on the test. You know what I mean? You don't know if they're going to ask you about who were the first people to use makeup on their eyes and, who were the first people to use makeup on their eyes and lips on the exam. You don't know. So really, to me, practice exams aren't really, for me, the way I learn, they're not really needed because I want to know what's on the test, and the safe word is set up so you don't know what's on the test. So they're kind of a waste of money. As long as you have your flashcards or you're studying your terms, you're looking at your definitions, you really don't need a practice exam. Now, if you're not a great test taker, maybe you do. So to each his own. When you graduate, you get your eligibility exam notice. You have to either go online, or you can call the phone number on the back, or you can, call the phone number. I went online. It's very easy to register at psiexams.com, and you create your username, password. You have to pick where you're gonna take your test at. So then you have to have your 2 forms of identification, like I mentioned earlier. And once you go on the, what they tell you to get ready for, they tell you, oh, don't arrive, an hour before your exam, only arrive 30 minutes before. You park in a parking garage. So you can, in Atlanta, off the Circle 75 test exam, you're in a parking garage when you park your car. So you can get there an hour, 2 hours before. I got there an hour before, and I sat in my car just kind of cramming. So don't pay that any mind. And also it tells you, I wouldn't bring your phone in anyway. I would bring in as less as possible. All I brought in was my license and my social security card and my keys. That's all I brought. But if you happen to bring your phone or whatever you bring with you, they're going to give you a little container to put in a locker to store while you take your test. So don't freak out about that. So they open the doors, like my test started at 5:30. And they tell you to be there 30 minutes before, which you do want to be there 30 minutes before. But I was there 30 minutes before, and there are people coming in 10, 15 minutes later, and there was no penalty that I know of that they got for that. They went in and took the test the same way I did. And people will be there taking tests for the nail exam, not just cosmetology, you know, barbering and all that. So, you know, don't get hung up on, oh, you know, I want to ask this person a question. They may not even be there for what you're there for. So just kind of stay in your own lane and do what you came to do. And so after she reads some instructions, she asks for your identification. You put your storage up. You go into another room and you take your test. There are cameras on you, so please do not cheat. I cannot stand cheaters. If you went to school with me, you know I hate cheaters. It's just a disservice, but there are cameras on you that you can see at the desk that she's watching. You know, I'm sure if they see some hanky stuff going on, they're gonna pull you right up out, and you're gonna have to repay what you already paid. If they let you take the test, they might even not let you come back. So just don't even try and cheat. Just do your best. It is computerized, like I said before, so you don't need any pen or paper. It's all multiple choice, 100 questions, or 110 questions, 90 minutes. And when you're done, you come out of the room, you get your information back from her, because she keeps your license while you're taking the test. And you don't find out what you made until after you're done. Like when you're about to walk out, you have to pick up your results off the printer. So that's a good thing, because no one has to watch you like walk around with like a 58 or something like I thought I had. Oh, I was so nervous. I had the bubble guts. No lie. Okay, I'm sorry, TMI. But so you pick up your stuff and then you go, and then you get and then you go and you can schedule your practical exam, or whichever order you want to do it in. You can do it in whatever order. You just can't do both on the same day. It costs $109 to take for the written and practical together. It's $109, and you are able to reschedule if it's before 2 days within your test date. I hope that makes sense. You can reschedule, but all this can be found on psiexams.com. I'm looking online, and it says some states require licensing exam to be taken within 90 days of completing your training, or others give you 5 years. I believe for Georgia, you have 2 years once you've graduated or you completed your training to take your cosmetology test. Like I said, for me, it has been a year since I graduated, and I am taking my test now with no penalty. But that's for Georgia. Just keep that in mind. And just be careful. I met someone who was taking the test, the written exam. He had told me he had just took the practical. And he was like, I studied, looked on YouTube, and I talked to people, but I was studying for the wrong state, and I was all backwards. So please, if you're not in Georgia, try and find someone who is in your state on YouTube, or look up the requirements for your state. You can also, if you went to school, your school should offer state board preparation classes. And some of the instructors at those schools give state board preparation courses privately. So you may want to go onto the school's website, see those instructors, contact them, contact the school to see if any of those instructors participate, because we had a number of instructors that did. They would give private instruction for the exam. I'm going to do another video on attending Paul Mitchell School Atlanta. I have to say I did enjoy it. It had some drawbacks, but you know, overall, it was a great school, and I'm happy that I went, although my pocket is not happy about paying these school loans back for such, you know, an elite school, but you get what you pay for. So I think that really covers just about everything for the written exam for the state of Georgia on the State Board Cosmetology exam. Next up, I'll be uploading a video explaining the practical exam for the state of Georgia cosmetology program. All right, until next time.